Back with Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. This is the new 1930 Britain campaign. We're doing something a little unusual, just to recap. Going all in with scads and scads of light cruisers and 2 battleships. The Arrogant class light cruiser, enormous. 60 currently, 12 more building. There will probably be more after that. I'm going to just a quick overview. Not terribly fast at 33 knots, but maximum range. Pretty hefty armor for a light cruiser. Some citadels, some anti-flood, some double bottom, reinforced bulkheads, and that's because, you know, we don't have any heavy cruisers or battle cruisers and very few battleships. More on that in just a moment. And so she's going to have to at least hold her own against a variety of probably stronger opponents. So made her fairly well protected, and gave her 6-inch guns, but triple barreled with automatic reload and increased ammo. And the basic concept is, and we'll see how well it works. It may not, but the idea is just to throw, replace range and penetration with just volume of fire of high explosive, and hopefully that'll do well against the heavy cruisers. And maybe do something against battleships and battlecruisers if necessary when we're trying to run away. And then I've also put some torpedo launchers with what I put on here, 21-inch torpedoes. And we'll see if she does the job. The main idea here is so many of these things with max range, and see what that does for imposing a blockade on Germany without a lot of capital ships. We do have 2 battleships though, because it's kind of a lark. It's not totally serious, but it's not a joke ship either, because something like very close to this did exist. Nelson class battleships, which I tried to make fairly close to the real Nelsons, which were a treaty battleship. And so they had this kind of a cockamamie, everything forward 16-inch main armament, some 6-inch secondaries, quite slow, both for her time, both in this game and in real life. Anyway, I was talking about it with somebody, and looked again at a picture of the real Nelson. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to build that and just see how it does. So I built 2 of them, as there were in real life, Nelson and Rodney. Which reminds me, I named the class. I did not name the 2nd battleship, which I can do. Not Admiral, thou shalt be Rodney. Okay, and so right now we've got 60 light cruisers, 12 more building, and everything's in. The 2 battleships are up here in Scapa Flow, and the cruisers are all crammed into Sunderland and Rosyth. And this on the movement here is because initially I built too many of them in Sunderland. I needed to move some up here to get Sunderland back below her capacity. And with that, kind of this, max crew training, max transport, 0 tech. I don't intend on designing any other ship classes anyway, even with the existing tech. And here we go. Let's see what happens in February. A couple things happen in February. What do we got here? We have one convoy battle, to be expected. Okay, 3 of our light cruisers, a 6 transport convoy, defended by a heavy, pretty big heavy at that, and a couple destroyers. So we'll get to see what the German heavies and destroyers look like. And there's also a battle of a straight up light cruiser 1v1 duel. Let's do that first. Their light cruiser is a little bit lighter than ours. Let's see how this goes. Should be a good combat debut for Cassandra versus the Thetis. Not within sight. Oh, well, it's 30 inches a ways off. Apparently she can see me. Okay, there we go. It's our conditions. Evening, clear, light breeze, slight. Okay. Not best possible, but not bad. Make sure I turn my torpedoes off. 15 kilometers away. We have 11.5 kilometer range with our 6-inch. Initially I want to go save, because once they get going, these triples are going to burn through ammo, even with the increased ammo allowance. We have a 12.7 kilometer range in our torpedoes, which are electric. A little bit slower, a little bit lower range than standard, but sneaky. Big decrease to spotting distance. I'm kind of interested to see how that works out against the AI. I'm not sure I've used those a lot before. All right, Cassandra's holding her fire. Well, she needs to shoot a little bit just to dial in her accuracy. Alright, that's fine. Go back to save. Okay, identified. Well, our light cruiser is not particularly fast for the era, but it's still much faster than the Germans. And they are 7-inch armed. And of course we're much more heavily armored as well. This is probably a significantly cheaper ship. 21.2 million. Whereas I believe the Arrogants are something like 28 or 26. And go ahead and pop off some torpedoes there. Wait for a good solution. Oh, well, no, keep turning. Turn some more. No, just keep going straight. Looks like it's just a single torpedo. She may have some underwater tubes. I'm going to pause for just a minute or two here and let's kind of do a little deep dive on what the Thetis is all about here. Okay. About 9,200 tons. Few bulkheads. Large crew, spacious quarters. 26.4 knots. Which is pretty kind of poke along for a light cruiser. Some armor, not nearly as heavy as ours. And we've got 7-inch main armament. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triple turrets. Two, 3, 4, 5 different 3-inch turrets. Some triple, some double. Kind of same thing with the 2-inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different 2-inch turrets. Apparently, not very many torpedoes because she is already dry. 4 triple launchers, and does she have one up there in the bow? Yeah, 4 triple launchers deck and 4 underwater tubes, 4 aft and each side. Apparently has, yeah, reduced ammo for torps, but increased ammo for guns. .22-inch with standard propulsion, which gives the torpedoes apparently a 15-kilometer range. Okay, that sure is a lot of 7-inch guns. If she actually starts hitting with them, that could spell trouble. She's not doing much so far, though. We've got double the hits and have delivered almost 10 times the damage. Well, I guess I can kind of go as fast as I want because I don't have to worry about torpedo avoidance anymore. .38%, 40%, 41% accuracy, less than 10% for her 7-inchers. Of course, she has taken some damage. I like the way those triple turrets are pumping out the 6-inch. And we've got a ton of ammo too. Over 3,000 rounds left. I didn't catch the number we started with. But she can throw out a lot of firepower, even if it doesn't penetrate that much. There, boom. Okay. And that is a Cologne class. I take a little bit of time there when I'm going over it, because the first time I see a ship class in a starting out campaign, I keep little post-it note cheat sheets, so I don't always have to be hovering over them to get every single detail. Alright, well, that's a good combat debut. Cassandra, or the Arrogant class, apparently has cause to feel arrogant, at least regarding the German light cruisers. And now we're going to attack this convoy and see what the German heavy cruisers and destroyers are like. Didn't it say 6 transports? Are the warships already here? They certainly are. Huh. The escorts usually aren't this close to the convoys in convoy battles. Okay. Well, the heck with the transports then. Take out destroyers first. And let's move over here so that if they want to fire torps, they got to fire through their own merchants. Which won't necessarily stop them from firing, but they can help us sink them. And I forgot to turn off torpedoes. That's probably a wasted spread there. Blanche and Phaeton did not fire. That's good. Obviously spawned well within torpedo range, whatever it may be. And they may have already fired, don't know. Just in... slow this down a little bit. Torps could appear pretty much any time. Yeah, they have fired torpedoes. Did I miss a warning? They were pretty close. Did they already go by? Did this one fire? Yes. Both the destroyers have launched torpedoes. I haven't seen warnings. if I missed it. I don't see them anywhere in the water nearby. Okay, so I'm gonna pop the division on avoid. Just go on X1. Well, let's just see what the destroyer's characteristics are. 3,400 ton. Standard bulkhead, cramped. .9. It's probably a little slow for destroyers. Completely unarmored. AI seems to go all or nothing. You know, a lot of times you see them with these 0-inch anywhere, and then sometimes you see 1.5 inch everywhere. 1.5 being the max available for destroyers. They don't really seem to do anything in between. Okay, they got some 5-inch guns. How many of those you got? Three triples. And a couple of little 2-inch. Those are apparently triples as well. Torpedo, they got a bunch of torpedoes. 2 quad launchers, 1 triple launcher, and one double launcher. With a 12.9 range, 22-inch standard ammo, electric, doing the same thing that I did, which means they're stealthy, which means those torpedoes could just pop off immediately off the beam. And increased gun ammo, which I'm not terribly concerned about, although 5-inch can hurt. Well, I'm pretty well armored though. A little bit concerned about 13-kilometer torpedoes that are hard to spot. Okay, off we go. The heavy cruisers so far not identified yet. It'll be just any second now. It's a pretty fast one, Comet. They got a lot of torps too, which is pretty typical for these arrows. Looks like V6 is almost done for. Although we've seen many times by now, they tend to get, destroyers tend to get damaged a lot pretty quickly, but getting that last bit of structure and flooding they, they can kind of hang on by a thread for a long time. Let's shift fire. Loop on around, try to get a little bit of distance here. Can't tell the status of those compartments. Don't know if she's going to be able to de-water any of that flooding or not. Doesn't look like it's going down. I can only guess that these destroyers launched right at the beginning when first spotting, and our initial turn to the left may have already thrown off their aim for those, and we never saw them. So far in beating up these destroyers, we've done 3,000 damage. A full third of it from fires, not from the initial damage from the hits themselves, but from the burn. Which is, you know, so setting all these fires, HE actually does pretty well. Speed up a little bit time. V10 and V6 have both fired again. With their double launchers. Target seems to be Phaeton, which means that's probably who the torpedoes are aimed at. So we'll see how the torpedo avoidance does. Saw in the last campaign, it does work pretty well in terms of avoiding torpedoes. If anything, it works too well. Sometimes the ships seem to maneuver more violently than they really need to. You know, relatively modest course change would do the trick, but they wiggle waggle all over the place. Oop. Okay, it's going to slip past Undaunted. Blanche is maneuvering. Man, they do show up pretty close aboard, though. Those electrics. It's a little scary. What was that? Right about here-ish. So little, somewhere between 1.2 to 1.4 kilometers away, right around here. Sheesh. .4, 8.7. Switch back and finish off V6. Who has fired again. She's out of torpedoes now, but there's a pretty... No, she's not out of torpedoes. Her triple launcher is, her quad launcher is not. So there's another 3 torps in the water somewhere. Comb it through. Whew, golly, they show up close. Alright, V6 is done. Let's finish off V, almost at max range. I'm gonna pause for a second here and get a little data collection here on the heavy. Okay. 18,000 ton. Few bulkheads. Big crew. 33.9. Faster than our lights. Not by much, but a little bit. Got some 9-inch. Looks like three triples. One I think one. Yeah, one 5-inch gun. It's a dual. Four 4-inch triples. A whole bunch of 2-inch triples and doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And singles. 9, 10. 22 total 2-inch mounts. And then quite the smattering of torpedoes. 4 triple launchers. 2 double launchers. And 4 underwaters. No fore and aft though. .9. That smells like electric. Same range as the destroyers. Yeah, electric. Increased gun and torpedo ammo. .22-inch. It's actually fairly similar to the 1940 German cruiser that we saw in the last campaign in a lot of ways. The 9-inch guns, you know, the tons of torpedoes. Okay. But that's pretty typical. The AI likes to pile on the torpedoes. Which affects their stability. You know, torpedo launchers are heavy, and on destroyers they're often placed centerline, but on cruisers are almost always off centerline on a deck edge. So that increases their roll, and that affects their gunfire accuracy. Leaving, you know, that plus just the auto-gen ship designer for either AI or player ships is just more tolerant of forward and aft weight offset as well, to some degree. Okay, Comet's has sent quite a lot of torpedoes our way. I'm just going to preempt that by doing a quick turn and heading back this way, because I would assume they're kind of aimed in kind of along this axis here. Nope. They were aimed. They were fired earlier than that. There's a spread. We had I had actually already inadvertently avoided them with an earlier turn. And this is kind of part of what I'm talking about. Phaeton and Blanche didn't need, they didn't need to gyrate quite as much as this to avoid these torpedoes. So leaving this void torp on does help with avoiding torpedoes, but it also kind of breaks up the integrity of the division formation more than is really necessary. I want to get back closer to V10 just to finish her off. Is Comet about to pickle off again? Not yet. What are you guys doing back here? Okay. So they're not really avoiding, but they're not rejoining Undaunted either. I'm going to turn off Avoid for the moment. There she goes. I think. Yeah, I don't think this is a mode that we want to, just kind of turn on and leave on. When there's a high risk, or for sure that there's torpedoes coming in the imminent or near future, pop it on and then pop it back off. Otherwise you'll just get scattered all over. Okay. If we were all three kind of bunched up together, maybe we'd go after Comet, but Blanche and Phaeton are so far behind. Let's just go over here and rack up some easy transport VP. Nope, I thought Comet was retreating. Not quite. Well, we'll keep an eye on her. Yeah, she's closing again. She's also obviously not a torpedo threat, at least for the moment. Speed up a little more. Just came a little bit left. Give Blanche and Phaeton. Phaeton? Phaeton. Not sure how that's pronounced. Oh, apparently we only had to kill 50%. We will, of course, kill them all. Anyway, so we've gotten a good look at both of the German cruiser classes as well as their destroyers. I think we're a very good matchup for the German light cruisers. Not concerned about that at all. The destroyers are, well, they're destroyers, and I think the 6-inch guns will do well against them. A little concerned about the heavies, because the idea of using volume of gunfire with HE with the rapid firing 6-inch guns kind of necessitates getting in fairly close, well within 10 kilometers. I'm not worried about the gunfire relative advantages and disadvantages. I think that's in our favor. But they've got those sneaky 13-kilometer range electric torpedoes, and a lot of them. So closing in where the 6-inch HE ammo will have a good effect on them get a little problematic from a torpedo perspective. And we'll see how it works out. Okay. The other aspect, of course, is that their heavy cruisers are a tiny bit faster than we are. Which means it can take a while to close range when we want to, or open range when we want to. But we're going to go, if she still wants to fight, and it appears she does. We'll go have a go at her. I'm kind of regretting settling for the... Or did I? Did we have sonar too? I don't remember from the design. Did I drop down a sonar capability? I mean, it's worth mentioning, we have the sneaky torpedoes too. But getting a good angle for them, a good firing solution, on a ship that is slightly faster than ours, might be easier said than done. And it looks like Comet is well aware of that. Yeah, she's beating feet. Gotta pause for a moment.